Ein. At graduation. Texted. Don't expect help. You're on your own. Then my CFO called. The IPO hit 6 billion. But everyone heard. And Dad's face when he realized his helpless daughter just became a billionaire. It was a moment I never expected. You'll find out tomorrow. I sat there, frozen, the stadium buzzing around me as names were being called. The sun was high, casting long shadows across the bleachers. You'll find out tomorrow. IPO. And I should have been filled with pride. I should have been celebrating, surrounded by family and friends. All of us basking in the warmth of success. Lexblech replied, you'll find out tomorrow. But all I felt was a cold emptiness, as if someone had drained the color from the world. The phone buzzed again, and my stomach dropped. She'll find out tomorrow. I glanced down at the screen, half expecting another text from one of the family members who'd never really understood what I did. But no, it was David, my CFO. His voice came through in a frantic whisper. I'm sorry to interrupt your ceremony, but the IPO went live 20 minutes ago. Ow. We priced high. It's 6 billion, Natalia. 6 billion. For a moment, the words didn't register. I just sat there, blinking at the screen, unable to move. You'll find out tomorrow. It felt like hearing someone else's story, someone else's success. I had built this. I had created this. But it didn't feel real. You'll find out tomorrow. Not in the middle of a stadium full of graduates, with the sound of applause ringing in my ears. You'll find out tomorrow. And the weight of my father's text still pressing on my chest. I glanced around at the people sitting nearby. They had no idea. The ceremony was still going on. Parents cheered, some wiping away tears. You'll find out tomorrow. Others holding up signs. It should have been me in the center of that happiness. You'll find out tomorrow. Instead, I felt like an outsider, trapped in my own skin, trying to blend in, pretending everything was fine. Did he say billion? Someone behind me whispered. I felt my heart race. The voices grew louder, more curious. I turned my face away, forcing a smile. My best friend, Jessica, nudged me gently. You okay? You look somewhere else. I forced a smile, just tired, I said. But the truth was, tomorrow. It wasn't just exhaustion. It was the text from Dad still echoing in my mind. You're on your own. You'll find out tomorrow. And after 6 years of non-stop work, endless coding, and pushing myself past every limit I could, this was the recognition I got, a cold text on the biggest day of my life. I wanted to laugh, to cry, to scream, you'll find out tomorrow. But instead, I sat there pretending to be just another graduate, pretending that nothing had changed, that nothing had hurt. Then, you'll find out tomorrow. The moment I had been dreading came. David's voice, still excited and bright, came through my phone again. Louder than I ever thought it would. We're trending on every financial site. He continued, oblivious to the rising tension. Investors are pouring in. Chloe, we did it. You'll find out tomorrow. That was the moment it all changed. Everyone around me turned to look, some even standing up to get a better view. I felt their eyes on me, the whispers growing louder. Jessica's head snapped toward me. Chloe, what was that? I couldn't speak. You'll find out tomorrow. I couldn't explain. My phone buzzed again, and it was Maria, my PR head. Her voice cut through the chaos. Aslan, you'll find out tomorrow. Listen, I know you're at graduation, but you need to know, every major outlet is requesting interviews. Tomorrow. Business Daily wants a sit-down tonight. Your name is everywhere. My heart pounded, a strange mix of excitement and dread. I find out tomorrow. My life, my secret, my success, it was all spilling out into the world now, and I had no control over it. Maria. I whispered. Voice, barely audible, keep it down. But she didn't. They're calling your valuation unbelievable. 6 billion and climbing. This is historic, Chloe. The crowd around me shifted, people leaning in, whispering more urgently now. Some even pulled out their phones. You'll find out tomorrow. I I felt the heat rush to my cheeks. The whispers were no longer just curiosity. They were filled with awe, disbelief. They had heard it too. And I knew the moment had arrived. What you'll find out tomorrow. I turned around slowly, seeing my parents pushing their way through the crowd. Their faces hard and sharp, ready for confrontation. You'll find out tomorrow. They didn't no idea what was happening. They didn't know what had just been unleashed. You'll find out tomorrow. Chloe. My father's voice called out sharply, his tone carrying through the stadium. I couldn't ignore him. Not now. His words sliced through the noise, pulling my attention. What is going on? Why are people looking at you like that? I stood up, my heart hammering in my chest. Talk tomorrow. This was the moment everything shifted. This was when I would stop pretending. But as I turned to face them, I realized I didn't have to explain. Not anymore. The phone buzzed again, louder this time. It was Maria again. Knew I couldn't ignore it. Dad's eyes narrowed as he saw the name on the screen. Who keeps calling you? He barked. Is that another one of your little campus jobs? Klo. You can't avoid real responsibility forever. A laugh escaped me, small and bitter. That's not who's calling. He frowned. Then who is it? Before I could answer, I tapped the speakerphone. Maria's voice burst through the phone, filled with bright energy. Chloe, out tomorrow. The valuation just jumped. We're past 6.2 billion. Investors are pushing the projection even higher. And also, be shy, you need to prepare for the press. You'll find out tomorrow. They've already named you one of the youngest self-made tech billionaires in the country. Silence. Complete, stunned silence. You'll find it tomorrow. My father stood frozen, his face draining of color. His mouth opened, closed, opened again. Maro. Mom gripped her purse so tightly her knuckles turned white. Find out tomorrow. For the first time in my life, I didn't shrink. I didn't step aside for them. Instead, I stood taller. Finally, you'll find out tomorrow. The world was seeing me the way I had always wanted to be seen. Yes, I said, my voice steady. Tomorrow. The company I founded reached a valuation of over 6 billion today. You'll find out please. And yes, that means I'm independently stable and have been for years. I stood there, the phone still in my hand. You'll find out tomorrow. The words I'd just spoken hanging in the air. My father's face was pale. You'll find out tomorrow. His mouth opening and closing like he couldn't decide whether to speak or just walk away. You'll find out tomorrow. The press, now fully aware of what had just happened, crowded in even closer. The buzz of the cameras felt suffocating. You'll find out tomorrow. And the weight of all the eyes on me was a pressure I wasn't sure I could bear. But I had no choice now. There was no turning back. Behind me, I could hear the murmurs. Did she say billionaire? One person whispered. How old is she? Another voice asked. The questions weren't directed at me. Pray you'll find out tomorrow. They were directed at each other, a slow, spreading realization that I was no longer the person they thought I was. The person my parents thought I was. You'll find out tomorrow. Jessica stood beside me, her hand pressed over her mouth, eyes wide. She was always the confident one. When I asked, your Fanima warned me. You'll tomorrow. Always the one who seemed to have it all figured out, but even she looked at me now as if she were seeing me for the first time. Cocos. She opened her mouth to speak but closed it again, unsure of what to say. Chloe. My dad's voice came again. This time a little more forceful. What's going on? Why is everyone staring at you like this? I swallowed, my throat dry, and turned to face him. You'll find out tomorrow. He was standing there just a few feet away now, his expression sharp, his arms crossed tightly over his chest. He didn't understand. You'll find out tomorrow. He never had. Never had. All my years of working, of studying, of building something that was mine, he had never once acknowledged any of it. Tomorrow. He had always treated my success like something to be ashamed of, something to hide. Now, that same success was impossible to ignore. Dad, you'll find out tomorrow. Let's talk later, I said, my voice a whisper, trying to push the conversation into a quieter space. But he wouldn't let it go. "You'll find out tomorrow." His face hardened, his eyes narrowing, and I could see the storm building inside him. Clyde the same storm that had always been there when I refused to follow his idea of what my life should be. "No," he said, his voice rising now. "Find out tomorrow." Just enough to make people turn and look. "We're going to talk right now." Was. I felt Jessica's hand on my arm, her grip tight. I could hear her heart beating in her chest. "You'll find out tomorrow." I knew she was as shaken by all of this as I was. I knew she didn't understand, just like I didn't. She replied, "You'll find out tomorrow." But what she didn't know was that the real conversation, the one that had been building for years, had just started. Tomorrow. And I wasn't going to back down. "Dad, stop," I said, finally finding my voice. "Stop pretending like you know anything about my life, about what I've built. Phone out tomorrow." The words tasted foreign coming from my mouth, but they were true. I had spent my whole life trying to make him proud. Out trying to live up to his idea of success. I had bent myself in every direction to please him, to be the daughter he wanted. "You'll find out tomorrow." But now, standing there, with the world watching, I realized how much I had sacrificed for something that had never mattered to him. "You storm off to get a PhD that no one asked for," he continued, his voice rising with every word. "Hi. And now you're causing a scene at your own graduation." I felt a sickening knot tighten in my stomach. That was it. That was how he saw me. As a failure. When I asked why she would find out tomorrow, as someone who had chosen the wrong path, someone who had let him down, even though I had never once asked him for help. "You'll find out tomorrow." I stood there, my heart pounding, feeling the weight of every word he had ever said to me. "You'll find out tomorrow." I could feel the years of disappointment pressing down on me, suffocating me, and yet, somehow, I wasn't afraid anymore. "You'll find out tomorrow." I wasn't the girl who shrank in his presence. Not now. "You never understood, did you?" "Tomorrow," I said, my voice shaking, but not with fear. "You never understood what I was doing, why I was doing it. All these years, you'll find out tomorrow. You dismissed me. You dismissed my work." I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself, and then I pulled out my phone. I didn't want to do this, but I had no choice. She replied, "You'll find out tomorrow." I turned it toward him, showing him the screen. "You think you're the only one who's ever taken care of things. Look at this. You'll find out tomorrow." The screen showed a list of payments, bills I had quietly covered, transfers that had gone unnoticed. It was all there, blocked in boy seat. "You'll find out tomorrow." The financial support I had given, without a word, without anyone asking for it. "Did you think I couldn't take care of myself?" I said softly. "I've been doing it for years, and I did it on my own." I looked up from the screen, my eyes meeting his. "You'll find out tomorrow." His face was unreadable, but I could see the faintest flicker of recognition in his eyes. The truth was sinking in, slowly. And with it, I felt the weight of everything he had never understood. "Chloe." My mother said then, her voice trembling, "Sweetheart, we didn't know." Of course they hadn't. "Tomorrow." They asked, and they hadn't listened. But I didn't say that. Instead, I nodded, just a small movement. "Tomorrow." A quiet acknowledgement that it didn't matter anymore. "I know you didn't," I replied, my voice calm. "Because you never ask." "You'll find out tomorrow." There was a long pause, and in that silence I realized something. This was it. This was the moment I had been waiting for. "She'll find out tomorrow." The moment that when I finally stopped hiding, stopped pretending, the moment when I stopped being ashamed of who I was, of what I had built. Whether I worry, I tapped Wilch and doubts tomorrow. As the press moved in closer, their questions coming faster now, I realized that it didn't matter if my parents understood or not. Was tomorrow. The world knew. And I was no longer the daughter who had to hide her achievements. I was the woman who had created her own path, and I wasn't going to apologize for it anymore. I stood tall, my heart steady in my chest. You'll find out tomorrow, I wag, and when the next reporter stepped forward, asking about my success, I didn't flinch. I spoke clearly without hesitation. For the first time in my life, you'll find out tomorrow. Yes, I said, meeting their gaze. The company I founded reached a valuation of over $6 billion today, and yes, you'll find out tomorrow. That means I'm independently stable. I've been for years. My father's face, which had been hard with anger and confusion, I softened just for a moment. You'll find out tomorrow. And in that brief flicker of understanding, I saw something I had never expected to see: pride. You'll find out tomorrow. The fluly. Not the kind he had always tried to force on me, but the kind that came from seeing me stand on my own 2 feet. It was small, but it was there, and that was enough. You'll find out tomorrow. The room felt suffocating now, the air thick with questions and confusion, like a storm waiting to break. My father, she replied, you'll find out tomorrow. I was standing just a few feet away, was still frozen, his mind racing, unable to grasp the weight of what had just been revealed. Tomorrow. My mother, usually the calmer one, looked lost, her face pale, her hands shaking as she clutched her purse to her chest. You'll find out tomorrow. I could hear the distant click of camera shutters, the murmur of the crowd as they continued to whisper about me. Alft. Own, Chloe. My father said again, his voice a little quieter, but still edged with that same sharpness. What does this mean? How could you hide this from us? I didn't answer right away. Tomorrow. Instead, I took a deep breath, my heart still racing, trying to steady the rush of emotions flooding through me. Anger, disbelief. Tomorrow. Out of frustration, but also something else. Something quieter. Something like relief. This moment, as painful as it was, had been a long time coming. Find out tomorrow. Years of hiding my true self, pretending to fit into a mold that my family had crafted for me. All of it was unraveling now. She replied, you'll find out tomorrow. Piece by piece. And despite the discomfort of it all, I could feel something inside me shifting. I wasn't going to shrink anymore. Not for him, not for anyone. Kunguri. How could I hide it? I finally replied, my voice steady, though I could feel the tremor beneath it. You never asked. You'll find out tomorrow. You never listened. He looked at me, his brow furrowing, confusion and pride fighting for dominance on his face. What do you mean? She could have told us. I guess. We would have understood. No. You wouldn't have. I said softly. The words felt like they weighed more than I thought they would. Kaliblied. You'll find out tomorrow. Every time I tried to share something with you, you dismissed it. Every time I tried to explain what I was doing, you laughed. You'll find out tomorrow. You told me to focus on something that made sense. My father's mouth opened, but no words came out. You'll find out tomorrow. I could see the gears turning in his head as he processed everything. His eyes flicked back to the phone in my hand, where Maria's voice still echoed in the background. To mother. The press had started to gather, asking questions, snapping photos. The moment felt unreal. You'll find out tomorrow. I was standing in the center of a whirlwind, yet somehow, I was calm. I turned to my mother. She had been quiet, too quiet. You'll find out tomorrow. She stood a few steps behind my father, her face drawn tight with emotion. But she hadn't said a word. I needed to know she was hearing me. I listened too. Mom. I said, my voice quieter now, more fragile. You didn't know because you never asked either. Frey, Her eyes welled with tears as she looked at me, her lips trembling. I didn't know, she whispered. Thought you were struggling. I thought you were lost of. You'll find out, yes. Her voice cracked on the last word, and I could see how much this was hurting her. You'll find out tomorrow. How much it hurt her to admit that she hadn't been there when I needed her most. I didn't want to make her feel guilty. You'll find out tomorrow. I didn't want this to turn into something that would break us further. You'll find out tomorrow. But it was too late for that now. I had spent so long hiding from the truth that I had built my life in silence, and now here I was. You'll find out tomorrow. I was standing in front of them, finally ready to be seen. I wasn't struggling, I said, my voice a little firmer now. I was building something for me, for us. Tomato. I paused, my breath catching in my throat. I've been helping you all along. But you never saw me. You'll find out tomorrow. The silence between us stretched out, thick and uncomfortable. My father shifted his weight, looking away. You'll find out tomorrow. His eyes scanning the faces in the crowd. He wasn't ready to face this. You'll find out tomorrow. Maybe he never would be. But for the first time, I wasn't afraid of his reaction. I wasn't afraid of his disappointment. You'll find out tomorrow. My phone buzzed again, louder this time, breaking the moment. It was another call from Maria. Tomorrow. My heart skipped a beat as I glanced at the screen. You'll find out tomorrow. It felt like the world was moving faster than I could keep up with. I hit answer. You'll find out tomorrow. You holding the phone to my ear, but keeping my eyes on my parents. The moment felt fragile, like everything was hanging by a thread. Kiloi. Maria said, her voice clipped, urgent. The valuation just jumped? You'll find out tomorrow. We're past 6.2 billion now. Investors are pushing the projection even higher. This is bigger than we thought. Tomorrow. We need to prepare for the press interviews. Everyone's waiting. The words were like a shock to my system, almost too much to process all at once. You'll find out tomorrow. I closed my eyes for a moment, steadying myself. When I opened them, I saw my father, his face pale, staring at the phone in my hand. Tomorrow. He wasn't speaking anymore. He was just watching me. Replied, yeah, you'll find out tomorrow. I wasn't sure if he was shocked by the numbers or by the fact that I had been living this life without him. You'll find out tomorrow. I couldn't tell. But this time when I looked at him, I didn't feel the need to explain myself anymore. You'll find out tomorrow. I didn't need to apologize for my success or for the life I had built. I had done it all on my own. You'll find out tomorrow. I had made it this far without their support. That was the truth. Tam, are you proud of me now, Dad? I asked, my voice barely a whisper, but strong. Stronger than I had ever been before. You'll find out tomorrow. I am. He didn't answer at first. His eyes were distant, still processing everything. But then, something shifted. Something I didn't expect. You'll find out tomorrow. His shoulders dropped and his mouth, which had been tight with frustration, relaxed. It wasn't a full apology, but it was the closest thing I'd ever gotten. I didn't know. Chloe, he finally said, his voice rough. I find out tomorrow. I didn't know how much you were doing, how much you had built. She'll find out tomorrow. The weight of those words settled over me. It wasn't the grand moment of vindication I had imagined. Find out tomorrow. It wasn't a dramatic declaration of love or approval, but it was something. And for now, that was enough. You'll find out tomorrow. Why? We stood there for a long moment, the chaos of the crowd swirling around us, but somehow it felt like time had slowed. You'll find out tomorrow. Like everything was shifting into place, and I was finally seeing the world as it truly was, unfiltered, real and mine. I didn't expect to feel this numb. She replied, you'll find out tomorrow. I thought, after all the years of struggle, all the sleepless nights, and the hours spent building something from nothing, you'll find out tomorrow. I'd finally feel a sense of victory. But as I stood there in front of my parents, surrounded by cameras and reporters, you'll find out tomorrow. I felt the weight of the moment settle heavily in my chest. Office. It wasn't relief. It wasn't triumph. It was something else, something raw and unsettling. Chloe? My father said again, his voice hoarse. Barely above a whisper. Imber. What is happening? What have you done? I could see it now, the confusion in his eyes. The panic rising slowly beneath the surface. Why, Hend? He wasn't angry, not anymore. He wasn't mocking me, either. No, this time, it was real. He was lost. Taplied, you'll find out tomorrow. And his whole world had just been flipped upside down, and he didn't know how to process it. You'll find out tomorrow. He had spent years telling me what I should be, and now here I was standing in front of him. You'll find out tomorrow. Not only as the daughter he never understood, but as someone whose success had completely shattered his worldview. I swallowed hard. What I caught, you'll find out tomorrow. I trying to gather my thoughts. It wasn't supposed to be like this. You'll find out tomorrow. This wasn't how I had envisioned this moment. I had dreamed of this day, sure, but not like this. You'll find out tomorrow. Not with the weight of my father's disappointment pressing down on me. Not with the world watching as my family and I collided in this strange, uncomfortable reality. How could you keep this from us? Find out tomorrow? He asked. His words slower now, like he was trying to piece it together, trying to make sense of it. All these years, you'll find out tomorrow. You've been doing this behind our backs and we had no idea. I didn't know how to answer. You'll find out tomorrow. I had tried to explain, tried to get him to understand why I was so focused, why I had shut myself off from everything else. I tried tomorrow, but every time I tried, he laughed it off, dismissed me, told me to focus on something real. The more I tried to share with him, the more he shut me out. I didn't keep it from you, Dad. I said, my voice quiet but firm. You never wanted to hear it. I'll find out tomorrow. You always told me to stop talking about it. You never took me seriously. The truth hung in the air between us, thick and suffocating. You'll find out tomorrow. I could feel the press closing in, the flashes of cameras lighting up the stadium like fireworks. The weight of it all pressed down on me. But I stood my ground. I wasn't going to shrink anymore. Not for him. Not for anyone. Tomorrow. You think you know what's best for me. I continued, taking a deep breath, but you never listened. You never asked what I needed. Tomorrow. All you did was tell me what I should want. And now look at me. I couldn't stop myself. The words were pouring out now, unfiltered raw. Kaida fry. Out tomorrow. I had kept them inside for so long, afraid of what would happen if I finally said them aloud. You don't get to decide my worth anymore. Dad, I said, my voice gaining strength. You don't get to decide what's enough for me. You'll find out tomorrow. I've been building this life on my own for years, and now you can see it for what it really is. There was a long pause. My father. I didn't speak, didn't try to interrupt. For the first time, he was just listening. She replied, you'll find out tomorrow. Maybe it was the shock, maybe it was the weight of the truth settling in, but for the first time, I felt like I was being heard. She ramhal out the samau. Yukalai, the crowd around us had fallen into an eerie quiet, as if they too understood the gravity of this moment. Lowers, they'll find out tomorrow. The world was watching as my family was forced to confront what they had never wanted to see. Finally, my father spoke. Tomorrow. While his voice softer now, but still thick with confusion. I didn't know, he said. I didn't understand. The words didn't bring me comfort. When I asked, she replied, I'll find out tomorrow. They didn't erase the years of disappointment, the years of feeling invisible. But there was something there, something fragile but real. Pulse. A crack in the armor he had built around himself. She replied, you'll find out tomorrow. Maybe he wasn't the father I had wanted him to be, but in that moment, he was finally admitting something I had needed to hear for so long. You'll find out tomorrow that he hadn't known. I nodded slowly, trying to steady myself. I know you didn't, I said. My voice quieter now, almost gentle. You'll find out tomorrow. That's why I stopped trying to explain. Because I realized that you weren't going to listen. You never asked, so I stopped telling. Morrow. My mother, who had been standing in the background, her hands trembling, stepped forward. Her eyes were wide with disbelief, her lips trembling as she finally spoke. Chloe, sweetheart, she said softly. We didn't know. We thought you were struggling. We thought you were lost. The words hit harder than I expected. You'll find out tomorrow. To hear her admit that she thought I was struggling, that she had never understood what I was doing, it was like a punch to the gut. She replied, you'll find out tomorrow. But at the same time, I understood they had never seen the work I put in, the sleepless nights, the sacrifices. You'll find out tomorrow. I had hidden it all from them because I had been too afraid to show them the truth. I wasn't struggling. I said, my voice firm. Though my heart was heavy. I was building something. I wasn't lost. I was just alone, and that's okay. I had to do it on my own. I turned to face my father again. Moi. His eyes were on me, but he wasn't angry, not anymore. There was a trace of something else there. Regret, maybe even pride. She replied, "You'll find out tomorrow." It was hard to tell, but for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like I was just the daughter he had written off. Tomorrow. I wasn't the one who had to fit into his mold. You'll find out tomorrow. I was the one who had created something new, something all on my own. For the first time, I felt free. Not because of the money or the IPO. You'll find out tomorrow. But because I had finally stopped pretending. And in that moment, I realized that I didn't need their approval. I didn't need their validation. You'll find out tomorrow. I had built something worth standing on, something real. And that was enough. The press kept closing in, their questions growing louder. You'll find out tomorrow. More insistent, but I didn't hear most of them. My mind was elsewhere, stuck in the whirlwind of the last few minutes. She replied, "You'll find out tomorrow." My father's face, the way it had gone pale when he finally understood, was burned into my memory. Find out tomorrow. But it wasn't just the shock that I was holding on to. It was the quiet realization that I had been carrying this weight alone for far too long. My phone buzzed again, but I ignored it this time. You'll find out tomorrow. This moment, standing between my parents, with the world watching, felt like the most important thing in my life right now. You'll find out tomorrow. The validation I had always craved from them was never going to come in the form I thought it would. You'll find out tomorrow. I had spent my life trying to earn their approval, but in the end, I realized I didn't need it. I had made something of myself without their help. That had to be enough. Chloe, my father said, his voice low now. No longer filled with anger or confusion. He almost sounded broken. I didn't look at him right away. I didn't know what to say. "I'm sorry," he said. "You'll find out tomorrow." His voice cracking as if the weight of the years was finally pressing down on him. I didn't know. I thought you were lost. Thought you were just wasting your time. Rebels. The words hung in the air, heavy and raw. I didn't know how to respond to that. All my life I had tried to prove that I wasn't lost, that I wasn't wasting my time. You'll find out tomorrow. But hearing him finally admit it, the realization that he had always seen me as a failure, that hurt more than I expected. You'll find out tomorrow. I turned slowly to face him, the quiet hum of the crowd filling the space between us. For a moment, I just looked at him. "I'll find out tomorrow." I am, searching for something in his eyes. And there it was. A flicker of recognition, a hint of something that hadn't been there before. Regret, maybe even pride. Tomorrow. I wasn't lost, I said softly, trying to hold on to the calm I had found in myself. I was building something. You'll find out tomorrow. I didn't need you to believe in me. I didn't need you to understand, I just needed to know that I could do it on my own. You'll find out tomorrow. His eyes searched mine, and for a moment I saw the walls between us crumble, just slightly. I fell, but it wasn't enough to erase everything that had come before. The years of disappointment, the feeling of never being good enough. You plan to find out tomorrow. Those things didn't appear just because he was finally seeing me for who I was. I didn't mean to hurt you. He whispered. Taungan. I thought I was doing the right thing. I wanted you to be stable, to have something you could rely on. I didn't want stability, I said, shaking my head. Tomorrow. I wanted to do something that mattered. Something for me. There was silence again, but this time, it didn't feel heavy. You'll find out tomorrow. It felt like space was opening up between us. Maybe it was the first step toward understanding. You'll find out tomorrow. Or maybe it was just the moment where we both realized that things had changed. I had changed. And I wasn't going back to the way things were. My mother stepped forward, her face wet with tears. You'll find out tomorrow. She'd been so shook throughout all of this, her hands still gripping her purse tightly. You'll find out tomorrow. She didn't speak at first, but her eyes were searching mine, like she was looking for something. You'll find out tomorrow could be a sign that maybe, just maybe I wasn't as lost as they had always thought. Chloe, she said softly, her voice trembling. Don't know what to say. You'll find out tomorrow. I could feel the weight of her gaze on me, the unspoken words hanging between us. Kukand replied, You'll find out tomorrow. She didn't know how to say the things she wanted to say, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to hear them. She replied, You'll find out tomorrow. I had spent so long fighting for her attention, trying to show her that I could make it on my own, and now, here she was, You'll find out tomorrow. I finally seeing it. But even now, I couldn't bring myself to say the things I had wanted to hear from her for so long. Tomorrow. You don't have to say anything, Mom. I said, my voice barely above a whisper. You didn't know? I know you didn't. She nodded slowly. You'll find out tomorrow. Her lips trembling as she wiped her eyes. There was no grand apology coming from her. No grand gesture of love or acceptance. But somehow, I felt it. She replied, You'll find out tomorrow. I felt the weight of everything we had been through, and for the first time, I didn't need her to say the words. Holfeinplard, I've been supporting you, I said, turning back to my father. I've been helping pay bills. I've been doing this, all of it, alone. Boys. But you never saw it. You'll find out tomorrow. And that's what hurts the most. You never saw me, you never asked. My father opened his mouth to speak, but then closed it again. She replied, You'll find out tomorrow. He looked at me like he was seeing me for the first time, really seeing me. And for once I didn't feel the need to explain myself. I see you. See now, Chloe. He said quietly. I see you now. The words didn't feel like enough, but they were all he had to offer. You'll find out tomorrow. And in that moment, I realized that they were enough. Enough for me to finally let go of the hurt. To finally stop waiting for something I would never get. You'll find out tomorrow. I took a deep breath and let the weight of the moment settle over me. The cameras were still clicking. You'll find out tomorrow. The reporters still asking questions, but for the first time, I didn't feel like I was being crushed by it all. I wasn't shrinking. You'll find out tomorrow. I was standing tall, with everything I had worked for finally out in the open, and that was enough. For the first time, I felt seen. You'll find tomorrow. Not because of the money, not because of the IPO, but because I had stopped hiding. I had stopped trying to prove myself. Tomorrow. I had built something for me, and no one could take that away. I'm not angry anymore, I said softly, looking at both of them. You'll find out tomorrow. I am just tired. I've been fighting for so long, and I don't have the energy to fight anymore. I just want you to see me. That's all I've ever wanted. You'll find out tomorrow. For a moment, everything was still. The press had moved in closer, but it felt like they were in the background now. You'll find out tomorrow. Distant and small compared to what was happening right in front of me. And then, just as suddenly, my father stepped forward. His expression softer than I had ever seen it. Sorry, Chloe, he said, his voice low but full of sincerity. I owe you an apology, a real one. I nodded. Find out tomorrow. I'd be feeling the weight of it settle in my chest. This wasn't the grand reconciliation I had imagined. You'll find tomorrow. It wasn't the Hollywood moment where everything fell into place. But it was real. Like about tomorrow, and for the first time in my life, I felt like I could finally let go of the past and move forward. Thank you, I whispered. You'll find out tomorrow. And for the first time, I believed it. The press continued to swarm around us, the flashes of cameras blinding in their intensity. But in that moment, I didn't care. You'll find out tomorrow. My parents, standing beside me, were no longer the towering figures of authority they had once been. You'll find out tomorrow. The storm that had brewed between us was still there, but it felt different now. There was a space between us. All right, you'll find out tomorrow. A quiet moment that neither of them seemed willing to fill. You'll find out tomorrow. I I could see my father shifting, the words he had said earlier weighing heavily on him, but he wasn't speaking now. Not to me. Tomorrow. Not to anyone. His pride, usually so imposing, seemed to have deflated, leaving him visibly exhausted. Lie. Chloe, my mother said again, her voice softer this time, trembling as she reached for my arm. I didn't know. I never understood. Kun mo torthilo. I didn't. I'd answer right away. The words felt like they were buried somewhere deep inside me, but I wasn't sure they were worth saying. She had apologized. You'll find out tomorrow. And for the first time, I didn't need to hear it. I didn't need them to fix anything to explain away the years of hurt. I just needed them to see me. To truly see me. We didn't know. My father repeated, this time with a kind of quiet regret. I thought I was doing the right thing, but I see now. You'll find out tomorrow. I see everything you've done. I couldn't help but stare at him, still processing what he was saying. It wasn't what I had imagined. Sade replied, You'll find out tomorrow. I had imagined that this moment, the one where everything was finally revealed, would feel like victory. But it didn't. Parado. Tomorrow. It felt like something else, something harder to define. Relief, yes. But also exhaustion. A weight lifting from my shoulders. She replied, You'll find out tomorrow. But one that was replaced by the raw, undeniable truth that I had spent years in a silent battle for my own identity. For a long moment, no one spoke. You'll find out tomorrow. The questions from the press had slowed down, the cameras now lingering on us with that familiar, invasive curiosity. Shiwa replied, You'll find out tomorrow. I could feel their eyes, could feel the weight of their expectations, but this time it was different. I wasn't shrinking under it. Antinabi. The spot. I was standing in the truth of everything I had done, everything I had fought for. You're proud of me now? I asked. You'll find out tomorrow. My voice softer than I had intended, a little vulnerable, though I wasn't sure why I was still seeking that validation. I already had it. In a way, to plod, but to find out tomorrow. But it felt like a question I needed to ask anyway. My father looked at me, his gaze steady for the first time in what felt like years. I am, he said, his voice low. I've always been proud of you. I just didn't understand. You'll find out tomorrow. It wasn't the grand reconciliation I had dreamed of, but it was enough. It's tomorrow. In that quiet admission, in his soft words, I realized that I didn't need the grand gestures or the apologies I had imagined. Tomorrow. I didn't need him to change overnight. I needed him to see me. And he was finally doing that. I know you didn't, I said, a faint smile tugging at my lips. Pero. It wasn't an easy smile, but it was real. But I needed you to, Dad. For a long time, I needed you to see me for who I am. Not who you wanted me to be. He nodded, a deep, almost sorrowful understanding in his eyes. I see you now, Chloe. I see you. That, in a way, was all I needed. Find out tomorrow. The world was still buzzing around us, but in that moment, I felt a kind of peace I hadn't felt in years. It wasn't perfect. Bermoth, you'll find out tomorrow. It wasn't everything I had imagined it would be. But it was real, and for the first time I was standing in the truth of who I was, not just to them, but to myself. Surosh. You don't have to apologize, Dad, I said, my voice steady. I just needed you to see me. And you do now. He opened his mouth to speak. You'll find out tomorrow. But then closed it again, as if he couldn't find the words, and that was fine. I didn't need him to say anything else. I'm not angry, I added softly. You'll find out tomorrow. I've been carrying all of this for so long, and I didn't even realize how much I was holding on to until just now. You find out tomorrow. The weight of the years was still there, but it wasn't crushing me anymore. For the first time, find out tomorrow. I was free from the constant need to prove myself to them. You'll find out tomorrow. I was free from their expectations. I had built something real, something of my own, and I didn't need them to validate it. You'll find out tomorrow. The press was still hovering around us, but I wasn't afraid anymore. I didn't care what they thought, what they expected. Kufamoro. I had already given them everything they needed to know. I had already taken back control of my story. And then, pops, something unexpected happened. My father, usually so proud, so sure of himself, finally let go. He reached for me. You'll find out tomorrow. I, hesitating for just a moment, and then he pulled me into a tight embrace. I'm sorry, Chloe, he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. I didn't know. I see you now. I see what you've built. I'm proud of you. You'll find out tomorrow. I'm proud of the woman you've become. It wasn't the perfect apology. It wasn't the perfect moment, but it was enough. For once, I felt like I could breathe, like the burden of their judgment had lifted from my shoulders. I know, I said quietly. Tomorrow. Holding on to him for just a moment longer. I know, Dad. As I pulled away, I glanced at my mother. She will find out tomorrow. Who had been standing silently behind us, watching the exchange. She didn't speak right away, but I could see the tear tracks down her face, the way she was still processing everything. You'll find out tomorrow. She wasn't ready to apologize yet, but I wasn't sure I needed that either. For the first time, tomorrow. I didn't feel like I was still chasing something from them. You'll find a Alvin. I waiting for their approval. I wasn't waiting for their understanding. I had made it on my own, and that was enough. You'll find out tomorrow. I turned to face the crowd once more. The world was still watching, still waiting for me to say something. But now, it didn't matter. You'll find out tomorrow. I had already said everything I needed to say. The air felt thick around us, the press still swarming. She replied, You'll find out tomorrow. The cameras flashing like strobe lights, the noise, the questions, the constant clicking of lenses, it was all overwhelming. But none of it mattered now. She replied, You'll find out tomorrow. I had already stepped into the truth, already said everything that needed to be said. The world was watching, but I didn't care. I had finally stopped pretending. Find out tomorrow. It wasn't easy standing there under the weight of it all. You'll find out tomorrow. Surrounded by a crowd of strangers who had no idea what I had gone through to get here. You'll find out tomorrow. They didn't know how many times I had questioned myself, how many nights I had spent doubting whether I was on the right path. When I asked why, she replied, Find out tomorrow. They didn't know how many times I had been dismissed, ignored, and belittled by the very people who should have supported me. Tomorrow. But none of that mattered anymore. I had made it. And now I was finally being seen. You'll find out tomorrow. The reporters were still asking questions, their voices overlapping, but I couldn't focus on them. You'll find out tomorrow. I could feel the presence of my parents beside me, still processing everything. You'll find out tomorrow. Still reeling from the truth I had finally forced them to confront. My father was quieter now, his posture less rigid. She replied, You'll find out tomorrow. But there was still something in his eyes that made me wonder if he was fully ready to accept everything that had happened. And then, you'll find out tomorrow. In the midst of the chaos, I felt a gentle nudge on my arm. It was Jessica, standing beside me. You'll find out tomorrow. Her face was a mixture of disbelief and awe, but there was something else there, too. Something like admiration. You'll find out tomorrow. She had always been the one to push me, to challenge me to step out of my comfort zone. And now, in this moment, you'll find out tomorrow. I felt like I was living up to everything she had seen in me all along. You did it, Chloe. She said softly, her voice almost drowned out by the noise around us. You really did it. I glanced at her. You'll find out tomorrow. And for the first time in a long time, I allowed myself to smile. It wasn't a smile of triumph, but one of quiet satisfaction. I had done it. I had built something real. Tomorrow. I had stood my ground, and now I was being recognized for it. But it wasn't about the recognition anymore. Tomorrow. It was about the fact that I no longer needed anyone's approval to feel worthy. We did it, I said, my voice firm, even as it shook slightly. You'll father and tomorrow. I turned to look at my father and mother, both of whom were still watching me carefully. You see, we've always been in this together. I fathered out tomorrow. You just never knew it. My Father looked at me, his expression softened, as if something was finally starting to click for him. Lord, you'll find out, tomorrow. Oh, so yon. The man who had always been so sure of himself, so confident in his beliefs, was now standing in front of me, unsure of what to say. Arshan Kolen. His silence wasn't one of anger, though. It was something else. Something like acceptance. You'll find out tomorrow. Like the years of tension between us were finally beginning to unravel. Tomorrow. Chloe. He said, his voice rough. I think I'm starting to understand. It wasn't much, but it was everything. It was all I needed to hear. I nodded, swallowing the lump in my throat. You don't have to understand it all, Dad. You'll find out tomorrow. You just need to know that I'm okay. I've always been okay. You'll find out tomorrow. There was another long silence, but it wasn't uncomfortable. It was peaceful in its own way. My mother, you'll find out tomorrow, who had been so quiet throughout everything, stepped forward then, her hands still trembling. T-player, you'll find out tomorrow. I could see the tears in her eyes, but they weren't the same tears of confusion or disbelief from before. These were different, softer. Like she was finally seeing me for the first time. I'm proud of you, Chloe, she said, her voice thick with emotion. Never told you that enough. Awed out. Tomorrow. I felt a wave of relief wash over me, the kind I hadn't realized I was carrying. For so long, I had needed to hear those words from her. Phew, and now here they were. Not because of the money or the IPO, but because she was finally seeing me, truly seeing me, for who I was. Tama. Thank you, Mom. I said softly, my heart lighter than had been in years. The press continued to surround us, asking more questions. Mo, you'll find out tomorrow. Snapping more photos, but now I felt like I could handle it. Now that the weight of the past had been lifted, I felt like I could breathe again. Kulkaro, find out tomorrow. I wasn't trying to prove anything anymore. I wasn't hiding anymore. I was standing in the truth of who I had become. She malthon it, and I was no longer afraid to own it. It. We'll talk about this more later, I said, glancing at my parents. But for now, I think I've said enough. You'll find a. Oh no, cool. The reporters hesitated for a moment, sensing the shift in the air, and then, as if on cue, they started backing away. She pivot down devout tomorrow. Giving us some space. The noise of the crowd didn't fade, but it became background noise now. I wasn't lost in it. I wasn't drowning in it. I go for find out tomorrow. I was standing firm, finally secure in my own place in the world. As the cameras began to pull away and the crowd started to disperse, Yeltonchino, you find out tomorrow. I turned to face my parents once more. The last few minutes had been a blur, but now, in this quieter moment, tomorrow. I felt like I was seeing them for the first time, too. You'll find out tomorrow. We were still standing there, still awkward in our own way, but there was a shift in the air. You'll find out tomorrow. A shift that wasn't just about me or my success, but about the way we were finally beginning to see each other. You'll find out tomorrow. And, as we walked away from the spotlight, side by side, I felt like something fundamental had changed. It wasn't a perfect resolution, she replied. You'll find out tomorrow. But it was a beginning. A beginning where we could finally start seeing each other for who we truly were. You'll find out tomorrow. For the first time in years, I felt like I had nothing to prove. I was enough, and that was all I needed to know. Kuratien. As we walked away from the press, the world felt quieter. You'll find out tomorrow. I fall as if the storm of flashing cameras and shouted questions had moved on to someone else. You'll find out tomorrow. The reporters' voices faded into the background, replaced by the thrum of my own heartbeat. My parents walked beside me, not speaking. You'll find out tomorrow. But not pulling away either. For the first time, it felt like we were moving together, like we were part of the same story, not separate chapters. She replied, Chutamor, you'll find out tomorrow. We made our way through the side exit of the stadium, and I could feel the weight of the past lifting off my shoulders with every step. She replied, you'll find out tomorrow. The tension, the constant striving, the years of trying to fit into a mold that was never meant for me, it was all behind me now. You'll find out tomorrow. I had finally said the words I needed to say, and in that moment, It felt like everything had changed. We didn't speak immediately. You'll find out tomorrow. I didn't need to fill the silence. I wasn't running from it anymore. She replied, you'll find out tomorrow. This was the space where things could settle, where the chaos could quiet, and we could start to piece together what had just happened. You find out tomorrow. My father was the first to break the silence. His voice was softer now. You'll find out tomorrow. I howl like the hard edges had been chipped away by everything that had unfolded. Tabao. Kiloi, he said, his voice carrying the weight of 1,000 unsaid things. I owe you an apology. A real one. I turned to look at him. You'll find out tomorrow. Seeing him more clearly than I ever had before. His shoulders were slumped, his usual confidence gone. Tomorrow. But there was something else in his eyes. You'll find out tomorrow. Something that made me feel like the years of misunderstanding between us were finally starting to heal. It wasn't instant. It wasn't a magical moment where everything was fixed, but it was a beginning. And that was enough. I know, Dad. I said softly. I know. He stopped walking, and so did I. For the first time, we were facing each other. You'll find out tomorrow. Not as father and daughter in the roles we had always known, but as two people who had finally come to terms with the truth. I didn't see you, Chloe. Not really. Not the way I should have. I nodded. You'll find out tomorrow. I know you didn't. But I don't need you to see me in a different way. I just needed you to hear me, and now you have. You will find out tomorrow. There was a long pause. The world was still moving around us, but in that moment, it felt like everything had paused. But you'll find out tomorrow. Like the only thing that mattered was the space between us. All slowly, he nodded, his face softening. It wasn't perfect. Nothing ever was. But it was real. I'm proud of you, he said, his voice rough. You'll find out tomorrow. Not because of the money or the success, but because you did it on your own, and I didn't give you enough credit for that. I see it now. You'll find it out tomorrow. You've always known what you were doing. I didn't say anything at first. The words hung in the air, heavy and comforting. You'll find out tomorrow. I had spent so long chasing this approval, wondering if I'd ever get it, but now, standing here, I realized I didn't need it. I had done it. I had proven to myself, to the world, and yes, even to him, that I was capable. We'll never be perfect, I said quietly, tomorrow. My voice filled with a calm certainty. But we can still be here together. And that's enough. My mother, find out tomorrow. Who had been silent up until that point, finally spoke. How? I'm sorry too, Chloe. I didn't understand what you were going through. I didn't understand what you needed. Her voice trembled slightly. She'll find out tomorrow. But there was no mistaking the sincerity in it. I looked at her, really looked at her. For so long, I had tried to make her see me. I tried to make her proud. Kalia, the quiet now, standing in the quiet after the storm, I didn't need to try anymore. I know. Mom, you didn't know, and I didn't expect you to. You. She reached out, placing a gentle hand on my shoulder. I'm proud of you too. For everything you've done. There was no grand gesture, no emotional breakdown. She replied, you'll find out tomorrow. There was just a simple truth that settled between us. We didn't need to fix everything. We didn't need to undo the years of hurt. She replied out, when I at your tomorrow, all we needed was to acknowledge what had been and move forward. And for the first time, I felt like I could breathe. You'll find out tomorrow. I felt like I could stand without waiting for someone else to tell me I was doing it right. We continued walking. She replied, but out tomorrow. The quiet stretching out between us. But this time it wasn't uncomfortable. It was peaceful, almost like we had finally found a new rhythm. She replied, you'll find out tomorrow, and The noise of the world outside had faded, and in its place was a new understanding. We didn't need to be the perfect family. We didn't need to pretend anymore. We just needed to be real. As we stepped outside into the bright sunlight, you'll find out tomorrow, I felt the weight of the day finally start to lift. You'll find out tomorrow. The world was still out there, still turning, still waiting for the next big story. But for the first time, I didn't need to be part of it. Entitlement. I had already written my own story, and that was enough. You replied, "You'll find out tomorrow." We walked together side by side, not knowing exactly where the road would take us, but for the first time, it didn't matter. You'll find out tomorrow, because I was walking it on my own terms, and that was something I had fought for. I had found my voice, and now, nothing could take it away.